Good morning, everyone. So, let me first introduce myself. Here's 3 things about me. I am 16 years old, so Gen Z. I am a student, and I am obsessed with doing everything. As long as it could help improve my portfolio, sign me up. And not only do I need to be everywhere at the same time, I also need to be the best at all of them. I'm very, very competitive. So much so that sometimes my self worth is dependent on how well I'm doing in this invisible, unofficial competition that I had apparently signed up for, though I don't remember doing it. Most members of Gen Z are very familiar with this sentiment. According to many studies, including one by the Wharton Business School, Gen Z is quite literally the most competitive generation ever, preferring to work independently rather than in groups, living the phrase, if you want it done right, do it yourself, to the T. For a vast majority of our generation, this invisible competition I spoke of is the norm. And the thing is, we are not just competing against our school or our neighborhood or even just our country. We're competing against the entire world. Thanks, globalization. So, why is Gen Z so excessively competitive? Because we are terrified for our future. We are brought up being told that we can be anything, that we have opportunities our parents couldn't even dream of having, and that we're incredibly lucky to be born into the era of the internet. But here's the catch. In a world where anyone can be anything, it takes a lot of effort for someone to be more than just anyone. To illustrate, I would like to bring to your attention the magic formula for success millennials and Gen Z were and are brought up being told. Study well, work hard, get into a good college, work hard some more, get a good job, earn money, be happy. A rather linear idea of success. Now let's examine this magic formula through the Gen Z lens. We can study, but everyone studies fairly well. So we take up extracurriculars to stand out and build our portfolio. We do everything, mentoring, extra classes, volunteer work that gives us an edge over our competitors, which is the world. Then college, sure. But have you seen those tuition fees? So inevitably, we end up playing the game of scholarships. May the odds ever be in your favor. And just like the Hunger Games, everyone's playing to win. So we're doubling down on internships, competitions, anything else that screams, pick me. While, at the back of our minds, we prepare 1 or 2 backup plans in case this one fails. Because no matter what other generations may think, the one thing we are is practical. Then comes employment. For every job, there are 1,000 other candidates with the same education levels as us. Thus, the race to acquire more qualifications continues. Because life is a race. If you don't run fast, someone will push you down and get ahead of you. 3 Idiots did teach us that. We, as a generation, are quite literally living life in survival mode, trying to get ahead and reach financial security before the next big bad wolf shows up at our proverbial doorstep. An illustration. Gen Z is competitive because we were taught that if we are not, then we simply won't be able to make it. We are competitive because we are genuinely terrified of falling behind. For us, falling behind is failure. This fear takes a huge toll on our well-being. Gen Z is commonly considered as a lazy and over-dramatic generation of digitally dependent procrastinators. I didn't say that, by the way, but someone on Twitter definitely did. We are considered as weak for our mental health problems. It is true that, according to certain studies, Gen Z tends to have a less positive outlook on life when compared to older generations. A McKinsey study conducted in the US found that Gen Z respondents were 2 to 3 times more likely to think, plan, and attempt suicide. Now, if anyone is wondering what has happened for us young adults to get so worried for our future, let me remind you of a few major events which most of Gen Z have grown up witnessing. 1, the Great Recession of 2008, which is the biggest one since the Great Depression of 1929. 2, COVID-19, fairly self-explanatory. 3, multiple full-fledged wars and armed battles in almost all continents. And 4, climate change-induced natural calamities. I don't need to tell you how bad things are. The rains last month are evidence enough. Every year, a new big bad wolf seems to materialize. In 2023, UN report stated that the world is facing the highest number of violent conflicts since the Second World War, which, may I remind you all, ended in 1945. So can we be blamed for being terrified for our future? For living life in survival mode? We are tired. Tired of the direction the world is going in, tired of competing with the entire world, and tired of being sold a linear idea of success. I asked a few Gen Z what they wanted, and this is what I got. We want change. We want to be helped. We know we're not the best people, but hey, we are not living in the best world either. We are constantly told that we are the leaders of tomorrow. But if we're allowed to grow like this, terrified, constantly thinking that there probably won't even be a tomorrow for us to lead, when that tomorrow does eventually come around, and no matter how bad a shape it may come in, there just might not be enough of us left standing to lead. And on that note, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Always wanted to say that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You've been a wonderful audience.